Okay, let's go ahead and now that we've gone over all that, let's take our next job. So this is just pretty much going to go the same way previous way we did this was. So I have it sorted by route length. Now you can choose a destination point if you like. Doesn't matter to us when we're doing these quick jobs because we instantly transport to wherever the job is. But let's say you just wanted to start at Berlin for whatever reason. It's going to matter a lot more once you buy your own truck because you actually have to physically drive to where the job is. But let's say that's what you wanted to do in that case. Just click on Berlin, and now Berlin is our starting point. I think we may have to go in and back out to get it to stop paying attention to Berlin. All right, so now let's just pick a job. So we just drove a Scania truck. I'd like to drive something different, perhaps. So we have Dresden to Prague. Yeah, sure, why don't we do that? So we are taking sandwich panels, 12 tons. It is 115 kilometers to go, only an hour and 53 minutes to get there. They expect it a little bit later on Monday, so we've got not quite 7 hours, but decent enough. They're going to pay us $2,000 for this job, and that money per kilometer, that's pretty good. $14.42. That's not bad. I mean, obviously, we could probably make more than that, especially if I sorted this by price per distance. This is the highest price per distance that we could possibly have, would be $17.16. As you get more levels and unlock different cargo types, this number will keep going up. But for right now, this is as good as we can get. And this is probably because this is the furthest distance we could travel. Although it might also partially be due to the cargo and other things going on there. But let's go ahead and go back to our route length. So that's going to be under here. And we're going to do the arrow up so that the shortest distance is at the top. And again, we're going to do this job here. Okay, let's go ahead and take the job. So far, we haven't had any real problems yet in our delivery. So right now, we do have to worry a little bit about things. So this is a different truck. This is the DAF or DAF truck. You'll notice that there's difference in, so I didn't go into gear, so notice that we weren't moving. Notice the difference in the layout of the information panel, the various things. Let's go over that real quickly so you guys know what to look at. So first off, we have our speed here. That's our speedometer in kilometers an hour. We have our rev counter. So I think it reversed sides from our previous truck. Again, they give us a nice green, blue, red indicator, just like the previous truck. We have the information in the front. Right now, it's tracking our fuel. We might want to change that to something else with the I button. But that's pretty much our basic layout here. And we have a couple other gauges as well, but not sure how much importance we should put on those. So let's go ahead and see what our information panel can show us. So we've got water temp, oil temp. Not really too concerned about that. Who knows what this is showing? Oh, this is our brake system. Fuel average distance. So I think that's all we get. We'll just keep it on the fuel for right now. But yeah, every truck is going to be a little bit different on what it all gives you in that information panel. The lower portion, I believe, is the different conditions that can exist for your truck. So right now, I'm just pulling to where the exit is. So this is going to be kind of a tricky exit because it's got these narrow walls. So we're going to really be concerned about making sure we take our turn nice and smoothly and making sure our trailer can get through. First off, I'm going to take a little bit of a peek at the job and where we're all going. So we're coming to here, and then we're getting on to the highway. And then we use the right mouse button to scroll. But as you can see, we're not really going all that far. And thankfully, there are a couple things to discover in this town. I'm not sure I'm going to go out of my way to get to those things or not. We do have our first roundabout, it looks like. Do I do that? It would take us very much out of our way. Yeah, I'll do it like this. So we'll make kind of a loop around and discover both of those things. All right, so we need to make a left turn. This is definitely going to be tricky. What I might do is just go ahead and pull out into this lane of traffic and just not worry about it too much. Thankfully, we're turning left. Right would have been much harder. Okay, wait for this car to pass us. So I did block traffic there for a bit, but Just made things easier on us. Oh, this is probably not a wise idea. I just barely made it through that light. I could have gotten a ticket there. Probably should have stopped, but I had the momentum going, so I kind of risked it. Okay. So the cool thing is we're going into a different country, so we get to see how are their road laws going to be different. Oh, Ursi's giving me a lot of information here. I'll look at it in a second. Will this light stay green? Fingers crossed? Yeah, there we go. Oh, I have a new mail. All right, so to check this, we just hit the start button, or in case of you using keyboard default controls, that'd be the escape button. And drivers with own equipment. So this is just letting you know if you own your own truck, you could go and pick up jobs. So this is an email you're going to get just naturally as you're first starting. So again, hit drive here. We'll be back out on the road. Okay, we speed up to 80 kilometers an hour. Now, I didn't pay too much attention to the power of the engine we had. I suspect it's a lot lower. It's okay, you do. So Bajirbi asked, are you reading email while driving? It does pause the game when you go into the start menu. It also pauses the game when you go into the map menu, which is great. I highly recommend that the map menu be your main way of pausing if you need to like take a little bit of a break. Maybe you need to take a sip of a drink like I am about to do. Because the advantage of that is all you have to do is hit the map button again and you go right back into the game. Whereas if you hit the start button, you have to use your mouse or your joystick if you're using the joystick mouse control to select that drive button to get it back out. Hitting the start button again will not bring you out of that menu. All right, we slow down to 70 kilometers an hour, which is good because that's how fast I was going. And I'm sorry, Ursi, I'll look at your comment in a bit, but somebody just yelled at me about reading an email while driving. All right, so this is where I'm looking in my mirrors, making sure nobody's to my left because I need to merge. Turn on my turn signal, merge over, and we're golden. Now, if there's somebody there, a couple different ways you can approach it. You can either just slow down and wait for them to pass you, and hopefully you time that correctly. Or, if it looks like traffic is heavy enough... Oh, I'm going way too fast. Let's use our engine brake. So you hear a distinct noise when you use your engine brake. And essentially how that works is it's using your gearbox, kind of, to slow you down. Now this is where I would look at my interface and try and figure out how does it tell me what my cruise control is set to. This is one of those things where looking at the information panel, I'd want to like figure this out. So is there a place where it's saying that? Oh, I see it. It's right below the speedometer. So I don't actually need to put it on anything. All right, let me read Ursi's thing. He says, PACCAR Inc. is an American Fortune 500 company and counts among the largest manufacturers of medium and heavy-duty commercial vehicles in the world. PACCAR, under the Kenworth, Renault, Peterbilt, and DAF nameplates. Jeez. I don't know where I got Renault out of that one. Yeah, that one I didn't know about DAF, but I knew about Peterbilt and Kenworth. They're also an engine manufacturer, PACCAR, which you get in American Truck Simulator. Those are engines that you can put in your truck. So, and I think DAF or DAF is the, if I remember correctly, it's a Dutch company according to what I looked up, but I think they're what is left of Leyland trucks. So, which was originally a British Leyland was a UK truck company. I don't know that much about that stuff, though. But the ownership of a lot of these truck companies are interesting. So Mercedes, the truck I picked, is part of the Daimler group, which that one's a little easier to figure out. MAN, I think, is the other, MAN is the other German truck brand, and I believe they're under Volkswagen, maybe? The other ones I'm not so sure. Volvo is Swedish, Scania is Swedish. Although they might be under another company. Renault is French. Trying to think. So yeah, this one does not have a retarder. So our truck is having a harder time staying within the speed limit under cruise control. Just now noticed that. Trying to think of what, if I'm forgetting a brand. I don't think I heard the break. Did you fix the? Yeah, I fixed the audio and the AI. So I'm sorry, not AI, UI. So when you're in the menu, if you're wondering why the music is so loud and how you turn it down, go under audio and just scroll down a bit. It took me a little while to figure this out because I didn't realize how many sliders there are for the different audio things. But there is a specific slider for UI audio, and that is the audio that you hear when you're in menus. And by default, it's extremely loud. And unfortunately, you guys got your eardrums blasted out when I first started. Oh, are we in Prague already? Jeez. That was a short trip. All right. Now let me take a look at the map because this is kind of a mess. So we need to go around the roundabout, take our second exit, come here, go around, go back over this way, go back on the roundabout, go back around this way, go to this other roundabout, come through over this way. Now, I'm making this more complicated than it needs to be because I'm trying to hit these question marks. But, yeah. Now, I'm an American. I have some experience with roundabouts, but I'm not going to say that I'm that good at it. So if I do it wrong, you'll have to forgive me a little bit. We do have roundabouts in the US, but they don't probably work quite the same way. Oh, wait, yeah. Second exit, okay. Pretty heavy traffic right now, too. You're going straight through. Like, for example, I don't know what lane I'm supposed to be in. I just go in the right lane because I don't know, I feel like I should, but also going in the left lane seems scary. All right, so this is our, I'm guessing the agency, recruitment agency, yeah. Driver job at net. Yeah, and then we go right. And we're just looping back around. Now you can set up radio stations in this game, which is pretty cool. You can either set it up to streaming websites. I don't know, I've never done that, and I'm sure there's guides you can find on how to do that. Or you can put in your own music files. And just to show you real quick, if you do it correctly, you click on radio, and a bunch of music will show up here. I haven't put it in the proper folder. I've done this in American Truck Simulator, but not here. But if you've done it properly, a bunch of music will show up here. But if you wanted to do your streaming service, you click on this button instead. And then you have your own volume slider and stuff. So that's one cool thing you can do. Personally, if I'm playing this on my own time, I get a lot of enjoyment out of listening to music while I drive. Because in real life, when I'm driving, that's pretty much what I do. I listen to a lot of music. So that's a cool feature you can do. Are we going through this tunnel? Looks like we are. I like to turn on my lights for the tunnels. I don't know what the laws are on this kind of stuff, but I think you're supposed to do that. Now, the one thing that the game will, I think, yell at you for... I'm going way fast. I'm not really paying attention to my speed too much because I'm talking to you guys a lot. All right, now we do our turn. Took that a little too wide, but sometimes wider is better as long as you're not doing it so wide you run into a wall or something. But so don't worry too much about taking something too wide. Where you can get mess up is taking a turn way too narrow, which honestly is kind of that's just a natural reaction to having to turn. I don't know when we're going to be going here, because the guy in front of us is turning left. I don't think I have enough room to squeeze past him. So we're just gonna have to wait. As you can see, heavy traffic. Looks like after that red truck, this guy will eventually go, as long as there's not a lot of traffic going this way. And there kind of is, but maybe at this point he'll finally go. Go! Yay! All right, now we can go because we've been looking this whole way. Because we're turning right, we only care about traffic coming from the right. Yeah, but when you're making a turn, your natural reaction is just to turn like immediately. But then you'll take the turn too sharply, and you'll start running into some problems of having your trailer run into things, get hung up on stuff. And it's actually quite tricky to get your trailer unstuck sometimes in this game. So I think it's safe if you're first starting out and you don't have see, okay, so this is a cool thing to point out. So in this country, they use speed cameras. So that's what that sign was letting us know. And a lot of these countries, I'm not sure about all of them, they have to put a sign letting you know that the camera's there. You do get forewarning of there being a speed camera, but if you were speeding, once you go past that camera, you're going to get a ticket. So just be mindful to watch out for that. Some countries will have those speed cameras, some won't. Germany doesn't have that. Who is going to give you the tickets would be actual police officers. At least I think so. I haven't been driving a lot of time in Germany, but from what I remember, they don't have speed cameras in Germany. They don't have them in Italy. I'm pretty sure they don't have them in France. I think they have them in Switzerland. And they definitely have them in the UK. They have a lot of them in the UK. So if you're driving in the UK, just be prepared for that, because you're going to get that a lot, is those speed cameras. And that's just the nature of every country being a little bit different. Okay, yet another roundabout here. So I'm going to come to a stop. See, if I hadn't come to a stop, I would have gotten clobbered there by that car. And that definitely would have been my fault, and I would have gotten a ticket for it. And I would have probably lost money on the job, even though this is not my truck. If I damaged the truck I'm driving here, so we have a Renault dealership here. Let's see if we can get it. There we go. So I drove in this lane just to try and make sure I was close enough that it registered. Okay. So this kind of gives you a rundown of a lot of the stuff to expect in the game. Hopefully it gives you guys a good head start. But yeah, I think Germany is a good place to start, because you got these nice traffic signals that go red, yellow, green to let you know when it's going to turn green. Which, if you have a slower truck, really helps you to a certain extent, because you can get going early if you feel like you need to. There are some things that I haven't covered. Oh, lights. Okay, so I used lights earlier. Your light toggle is going to be a 3-stage setup. So first stage is what I have now, which is completely off. Second stage is going to turn on the light in your dash. Third stage is going to turn the actual headlights on. It might not be easy for you guys to pick that up, because it's not night right now. Obviously, it's going to be a lot more important once it becomes dark. But that's how that works. And the wipers work very similarly in so far as it's a variable thing. When you put it on your first setting, it's going to be slow, then it's a little faster, then it's at its fastest speed, and then hit it again and it will turn off. And I'll show you that in a second here. And that's important because when it is raining, you're going to want to have your wipers on, obviously. And this truck is kind of cool because it has 3 wipers, but that was the first setting. This is the second setting. Third setting. And then finally off. But yeah, you're going to want to have your lights and your wipers on when it's raining. And I think if you don't have your lights on, I don't know about the wipers, but if you don't have your lights on when it's raining, you may get a ticket if a cop sees you. So just be mindful of that. So again, I'm going to go into third person here by pressing the number 2 key. You can do this parking in first person, but I think it's easier to get the hang of it because you can watch your trailer. Now, if I was doing this in first person, what would I be doing? I would be doing a combination of looking in my mirrors to see what the trailer state is, or if you keep looking to the left, you can actually look in out your window and behind you. So that's kind of a cool feature. You don't have to hit any button to do that. You just look to your left and eventually you'll just start sticking your head out your window. So that's how you would do it if you're doing it in first person. But for when you're first getting started, I recommend just doing it in third person, as it's a lot easier to see what you're doing. So we went a little wide to get our trailer where we wanted it, and now we can start pulling it in and straightening it out. And there we go. Once you get the beep and the button prompt, just hit what the button prompt is, default T, or in our case, down on the D-pad. There you have it. All right, guys. So we have done in short order, we've done 3 jobs, your tutorial job, and 2 more jobs beside that. From here on out, it's going to be pretty much doing that repeatedly until you level up more and more. You're going to take more and more of those skills. I recommend as far as skills to take. You can do, as I've done, do long distance first, give you a little bit more distance on your travel, but start unlocking your different cargo types and your different job types. And I would recommend doing fragile cargo, high value cargo, just-in-time delivery in that order. And then once you feel like you're comfortable with everything, start taking your hazardous cargo. You can do these in any order you like. You don't have to start with the first one. And get a few of these. So you got a variety of jobs available to you. And start knocking those out and getting comfortable with those. And then, as you approach that level 6, we're going to look to buying our own truck. So, with that being said, I think I'm going to wrap up here. There are some things... You know what? No, let's not wrap up here, because I'd like to show you guys what it's like driving at night. So, we're currently at 1621. I'm going to take a little bit longer of a job. And let's do a little bit of night driving. There are some situations that can arise that I have not covered, but they're very situational. One is accidents on the road. We did get to see one instance of that, but there can be accidents on the road on the highways that will block ways that you'll want to go, and you might force you to detour a different way. Sometimes the detours can be fairly simple. Sometimes they can be very complicated. But one issue that may arise is the navigation system will tell you to turn around, but then it'll tell you to turn around and pretty much go the same way that was already blocked. And this is one of the trickiest instances because you're going to have to figure out the detour yourself, because the navigation system is just going to keep telling you to turn around and keep trying to go that way, and you can't go that way because it's blocked. In that case, you're going to have to try and look at the map and figure out your detour yourself. Hopefully that situation does not happen to you, but it may happen. So just be aware of that. And the best way I can tell you to do that is just look at your map, your world map, and just look at the routes and see. Let's give an example. So let's say I was trying to go up here to this town from Berlin, and we got to here, and we had to go up to the north, but for whatever reason, this was blocked, and I had to detour and get off this way. Well, this isn't so bad because I can pretty obviously see if I were to go this way and then come up this way, I could eventually get up there. Maybe this isn't a viable option. Well, then I have to keep going, come up this way, come down this way, and eventually we'd get there. Sometimes this is the things you have to do. Usually speaking, the instance I showed you here where the block would be on your main highway, that's not really going to happen. Often the block is on the off-ramp. I guess it could happen that it's blocked here, but in our case, let's say it's blocked in the off-ramp, and what the game would do is you'd blow by this, and the game would be like, oh no, you have to turn around. But then it would have you turn around and come back, and then it would have you try and get back on the same off-ramp. Well, if it's blocked here, you're not going to be able to go there, right? So that's where the real problem is going to happen. And that's where the detour might have to be this more long path. This becomes much more tricky when you're doing a quick job because they don't give you necessarily a full tank of fuel when you're doing these jobs. They oftentimes will give you a little bit more fuel than you need to do the job, but not a lot more than that. So you might run into problems of driving too long, your guy's starting to get too tired, your fuel tank's starting to run on empty, and that's where you can really have some problems. So that's one of the most difficult situations that can happen to you, is a situation where you have to detour, and the detour is an ugly, like really long route, and you're doing one of these quick jobs, and you just don't have the fuel to do it. Or something. I mean, you can pull over and get to a fuel station, but that's money out of your pocket, which is unfortunate. So, as I said, hopefully that never happens to you, but it may. Honestly, I'm not sure if I can really... this job might be enough time. We want at least 5 hours, because that would clearly get us into nighttime. This would probably do it, too. Go down into Slovakia. Or Dresden to this other place in the Czech Republic. I'm trying to do like a job that's not super long. I think I'm going to do this one. And we get to drive a Volvo truck. This isn't the one I recommended, because the one I recommended is the FH Classic. This is the newer version. It's still a good truck. So yeah, let's do this one. And this will be the last job I do. Because I do want to show you a little bit of night driving. I mean, I already showed you how the mirrors and stuff, not the mirrors, the lights and stuff work, but it's still good to see that in practice. I didn't pay attention to what we're hauling, but it's fine. We'll be fine. And I also didn't pay much mind to how much I'm getting paid for this job. All right, so the layout of this truck is a little bit different. Let's just quickly go over it. So speedometer is at the top in kilometers an hour. Down below is your rev counter. Again, it gives you green where you know you're good rev-wise, and red where you really shouldn't go that high. So to give you a little bit of a shifting indicator, you got your fuel and other things. I'm actually not sure what classifies as the information panel. Is it the bit on the left or the bit on the right? I guess we'll find out here in a second. As I hit the I key. Okay, it's going to be the bit on the right is what changes. Also, I'm curious where the cruise control information would be. Maybe in the information panel if I'm on the right setting. Then again, it may not. So, see if we can figure that out. So we got temperature. This is probably where our... Well, that's our current speed. And the other thing is probably our turbo boost, which honestly you don't need to worry about. Yeah. So Ursi said that first person is a little bit more atmosphere and stuff. And as I said, you can do everything you need to do in first person. And I honestly just find it more fun to play it like this. So if you want a little bit more modern, let's see, cruise control. So I have it set to 49. I think what's showing there, though, let's test that. If I turn cruise, yeah, so that's what's showing right there is my current speed. Let's put the cruise control on again. I mean, it's not the right speed. Okay, I see it. It's right next to the what gear we're in, the A9. So that's where you can expect. So CC means cruise control. All right, cool. So as far as the information panel goes, we can really have it on whatever we want. In case you're wondering what the turbo boost stuff is, most trucks like this, they're diesel, and most big diesel engines like this are going to be turbocharged, if not turbocharged, supercharged. So if you're more into motor vehicles, you oftentimes hear the turbo whine. That's kind of like the high-pitched sound you hear. That's what that is. That's your turbocharger. When you hear that nice high-pitched noise, that's letting you know that the turbo is spooling up. And then here you get a graphical representation of the turbo spooling up. So 50 kilometers an hour on this off-ramp. I'm going to use a little bit of engine braking to slow us down. So we can make this turn nice and safe. Okay, that's good enough. Now it says 100 there, but we're still in Germany, I think, so should be 80 kilometers an hour for us. We're more concerned if it ever drops below 80. That's when we care. Oh, and I am definitely going too fast. Let's start using our engine brake to slow down. That's a much smoother, slower way to slow down if you need to. Looks like we're going downhill too, so I'm going to use that engine brake to slow down for that reason. I didn't pay attention if this truck had a retarder, so I'm going to try and keep an eye on that. We were going downhill. I think it's smoothed out though, the terrain here. Alright, let's speed up a little bit and I'll reset the cruise control for the proper speed. I think I saw a light come on, so we may have a retarder on this thing. It looked like it was just below where the turbo is. Let's see what our other info panels are. So oil pressure, it looks like. Not sure what the circle thing is. So this is our fuel gauge, so liters. So we've got 646 liters of fuel. We don't have quite a full tank for this job. And our estimated distance. These I find not very reliable. But in theory, we can hit 1,300 kilometers. See, there's another one of those cameras. Are we not in Germany? I thought we were. Hold on. Oh, okay. We very quickly crossed the border, so... So there's the camera right there on that pole. But we're going the speed limit, so we're not too concerned by that. What else we got? So this is our fuel consumption. Here. I'm American, so I have no idea how to read these. Looks like liters per 100 kilometers is what it's reading right now. And I'm guessing higher is better. That's a guess on my part. No, lower would be better, wouldn't it? And one of these is probably lifetime of the truck, and one of these is probably current. I couldn't tell you which one's which because they're using the same symbol. Temperature. Back to speed. I'll just keep it on the fuel tank. Yeah, so this truck's kind of cool. Main reason why I don't recommend this, yeah, this definitely has a retarder because I saw the button come up real quickly. Or the light. One reason I don't recommend this one over the FH Classic is I find the gauges in the FH Classic to be much easier to read. Because the rev counter isn't as easy to read on here. It's not bad to read, but I kind of prefer the FH Classic in that vein, but this truck's good too. So if you like the more modern layout of this truck, go for it. Nothing wrong with it. So we're in 12th gear, cruising. Sure, our fuel consumption's pretty good right now. Yeah, I think the top one is our current, and the bottom one is lifetime of the truck. So right now, yeah, it's starting to go up because we're going uphill, and cruise control starting to use the engine a little bit more. So If this is a gauge you like, that's how it reads. So the top one is your current, bottom is lifetime. You could probably reset the trip on that one to give you specific fuel consumption over a distance if you're more interested in that. How to do that, I don't 100% know, but I'm sure there's a keybind for it somewhere. I usually prefer lifetime of the truck. Just gives me an idea of how fuel efficient I've been since I've owned the truck. Obviously, this truck isn't mine, so a little bit less concerned about it there, but... Because if you don't reset the trip, the trip starts from when you first bought the truck and started driving it. Pretty heavy traffic here. Let me take a look at the route. So it is forcing us through Prague to get to where we're going. So when we were talking about estimated distance, keep in mind that navigation system is not giving you a very realistic number here because it's expecting you not to have any stops like this. It's expecting you to keep to the speed limit constantly, even when that wouldn't be realistic. Either because it wouldn't be safe to do so, or I'm just going to go ahead and stick in the right lane here. Even if that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. Or, like, right now, it expected me to go 50 that whole time, because that's what the speed limit was. Well, I'm not realistically going to go 50 around that roundabout. Now, you can cut time. I think it gives you a little bit of leeway. It doesn't necessarily expect you to go 50, but maybe it expects you to go 47 kilometers an hour, right? So by going 50, you can shave time off of that, but if you have any stoppage for whatever reason, whether it be a light, whether it be you have to just slow down because that's what you have to do for it to be a safe trip, any number of reasons, your trip time is going to be longer than what's expected. So expect to take longer than what it says it's going to take in all circumstances. All right, here we go. That guy just turned left right in my face. See, that was the AI. That was the AI being bad. I had right away there, and they ignored my right away entirely. And slammed into me. And notice who got the ticket? I did. And that was nothing I could do anything about. I had right away. It was my time to turn right. That guy literally turned left into me. Nothing you can do about that. So don't feel too bad about it. If you have to, if it's something really bad, like it did a lot of damage to your truck, or you just really can't afford that fine, just load up one of the, okay, just to show you. I'm not going to necessarily do this, but so I have the one mission complete save. I forgot to do another one, so that was kind of bad on me. But you also have autosaves. Just check this box. And you'll have there, and then you can consult. So this is the game time. This is the real time. So for me, that was 2 minutes ago. So let's say that accident happened. That's not my fault. I don't like that that happened. I can just click on this, and it will load me in. Now keep in mind, it will load you in at a dead stop, wherever you were at the time that the autosave happened, which may not be the most convenient place in the world, but there you go. So if that's something that... And it could be just a simple mistake you make on your end. You get your trailer stuck, and it's real problematic to fix it. Don't feel bad. You're a new player. You're starting out. Don't feel bad about loading in your autosaves. Just sometimes you're gonna want to do it. And again, that wasn't my fault. There was nothing I did wrong there. Now, I could have been watching out for the AI a little bit more closely to make sure they weren't going to turn left into me like that and try to avoid a collision, which I did successfully do with the first car, but I didn't know they would be immediately following it, another car turning left that would just slam into me like that. Now, maybe if I'd stuck to the right lane, I wouldn't have gotten hit like that, but in my mind, I should have had right away, and it doesn't matter which lane I'm turning into. What happens if I needed to turn into that left lane, right? So that was the game and the AI failing. So again, these things happen. If it happens to you and you don't like it, you can always do your autosave. But there's just going to be times like that that happen. It's not really anything you can do about it. It's not your fault. It's kind of a bummer that I got a ticket for it, because again, it wasn't my fault. Now, it's telling me to get over in the left lane. I don't particularly know why, just yet. We could consult the map to find out why. It's possible that the off-ramp here is like the right lane has to get off here and the left lane just goes straight through. That's what I would imagine. Sometimes it tells you to get over and you really don't need to. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm actually glad that I did this other trip here. Oh, it slowed back down to 50. Now it's back up to 80. That was kind of an awkward... Yeah, so that's exactly what happened here. So that exit goes to Nuremberg, but we don't want to go to Nuremberg, so we're just going to keep on this. But I'm going a little fast. Just let it naturally slow down, then I'll put the cruise control on. Yeah, and see that R pops up. It happens fast, so you might not notice it, but just below where that information panel is, kind of on the same plane as those two rectangular boxes in the lower right corner of the informational panel. Oh, this is a similar situation. You want to go straight. I don't think the... Okay, hey, we're raining. Good. So turn on my lights. Turn on my wipers. We're getting all the stuff. We get the AI smashing into me in a situation where there's not really a whole lot I could have done about that. We get the rain happening. So I have this on setting 2 for the wipers, which looks like it'll be sufficient. And I have my lights on, just because I think that's good practice in real life as well. So retarder's on full. You'll see that R in the circle there. That lets you know that the retarder's on, and it's doing its best to try and slow me down so that I'm not going above that 80 kilometers that I set. It went a little above, but not by much. Our engine's struggling a little bit to go uphill there, but... Now, that's more of a problem if you're going with a manual transmission. Automatic, the AI will switch gears as needed while you're in cruise control. At least I think it does. But... in manual, you'd have to do that, and that may kick you out of cruise control. I'm not sure with sequential, but if you're using an H-shifter, it definitely does, because when you push in the clutch pedal, it takes you out of cruise control. I'll have to keep an eye on that, on the rev counter and stuff. Next time we go uphill. Does it change if it needs to? So what I'm doing is I'm just watching the rev counter. If it dips out of the green... Okay, yeah, it shifted down when it needed to. So, yeah, so you don't really have to worry about that if you're either doing the simple automatic or real automatic. Either way, it works fine. There comes on the retarder again for that downhill bit. There's a police officer there, so if I was speeding and he saw me doing it, he'd give me a ticket. And because we already have our lights on, when it does become dark, we don't really have to worry about turning them on, because we're already good to go on that. I'm not sure if I picked a long enough trip, honestly, for that to happen, but I think I'm pretty happy with this trip here, showing you some things that I wasn't able to show you before. So, key things for this trip: keep an eye out on the AI, because sometimes they do things that they really, you know, they make some odd decisions sometimes, and you just have to drive defensively and be ready for that kind of stuff. Sometimes you can't help it, sometimes you can. You get to see rain. That's good. And that's pretty simple. And this is why I did the keybinds I did. You might find wipers to not be all that important to you. So feel free to assign that keybind to something else on your joystick if you, or your controller as you see fit. Same thing true is about the lights. If you don't think it's that vital, go ahead. One function that I left off my controller would be turning the engine off, which by default is the E key. You can set that to something if you like. I did not bind it to anything By default, it was set on the pressing in the right joystick, but again, I talked about earlier on, I don't like having anything bound to my joysticks because I do find it easy to accidentally press those. Especially on my left joystick, which I'm doing steering. If I'm doing heavy steering, sometimes I accidentally press that button in. This is something you may encounter too. You got a truck in front of you. You're going the speed limit, but he sure isn't. This can happen from time to time. It's okay to pass in that regard. And I think I'm about to do so. So I'm just going to go ahead and get over into the left lane with a turn signal. And we're going to start moving to pass him. Because he's just going a little bit too slow for me. Now it might take you quite a bit of time to pass him within the constraints of the speed limits. Because it's not a huge difference in our speeds, but eventually I'll pass him. I think we also have a power advantage in regards to our truck versus his truck. So I'm able to kind of pass him on these uphill, downhill bits much more easily. So I passed him. Just right signal, turn signal, get back over, and we're good. We did a nice, safe pass. Now, up ahead, the traffic's going slower than we want to go. Well, we have to get over in the left lane anyway because there is a exit only here. So I guess that works out in our favor. But if that wouldn't have happened, we might have just had to eat the slower traffic and not really had anything to do about it. Because it may not have been safe for me to try and pass or wise. So now we want to get over to the right. Both because the navigation tells me to do so, but secondly, we want to allow faster traffic to pass us. I don't know about the country we're in right now. I think we're still in the Czech Republic. Yeah, as a matter of fact, we don't leave the Czech Republic with this job. It was the other job I was thinking of where we went into Slovakia. But I don't know about the Czech Republic, but I know in Germany they can be a stickler for proper passing procedure. I'm pretty sure the game doesn't punish you for it, but you really should just, you know, if you want to simulate reality, I think it stopped raining, so we can turn that off. I'm just going to keep the lights on because it is starting to get dark. But as far as I understand, somebody can correct me on this, but in Germany, you want to be riding the right lane most of the time, and you're only ever going to pass on the left side. As a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, it's actually illegal to pass somebody in the right lane. So if a cop sees you do it, they will give you a ticket. Now, I'm not saying in the game, I'm saying in real life. Maybe they'll do it in the game, but I don't think so. In other countries, that's just courtesy, passing on the right kind of stuff. But as far as I know, in Germany, it's actually the law to pass on the left, don't pass on the right. Okay. I think I'm clear. There is a car coming that I saw, but I think if I stay to the left here, we might be okay. Yeah, it was still off in the distance, quite a distance. So I'm going to stay on the left because we're about to make a left turn anyway. And that's just one of those things that you can do to role play, right? The game may not punish you for certain behaviors, but if you want to role play driving behavior, I think I turned that turn a little wide, so let's slow down. That was a little ugly turn, but hey, we didn't slam into the cement barrier, so that's good. And it's better to go wide than go sharp with your turns. Just don't go that wide. And if you do notice yourself going too wide, make sure you stop and slow down and try and correct yourself. If you have to back up, back up. Hopefully you don't. Okay, this is our turn in. I'm going to go off on the other side of the road, even though technically that's not what I'm supposed to do. But just give myself enough room to go nice and wide. I may have gone past the green indicator. Oh, it gave it to me anyway. All right. Confirm. All right, let's turn our turn signal off, even though it goes off automatically. You can't set it so it doesn't go off automatically. So again, we're going to go into third person here. That's by pressing the number 2 key. Get our trailer turned around. I like this color. And it happens to match the trailer too nicely. Yeah, so this truck worked out really well. I really like the Volvo trucks. They're really nice. But again, as you can see with these quick jobs, you get plenty of opportunity to try out all the various trucks and discover for yourself what you like. You don't have to listen to my preferences. Come up with your own. And it can be for any reason. You like the way the mirrors are. That's actually something that's really important to me because I highly value the mirrors as a tool of tracking the various things around you. And I would advise you to value them that way too, but that's entirely up to you. So we've gotten another skill point here. So as I discussed, I'm going to go with fragile cargo to unlock new jobs. And if we look at, just very quickly, I'm not going to actually take a job. But we look in our quick jobs, we can now specifically look and see if there are any fragile cargo jobs. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like I see one. Now, how would you know if there was a fragile cargo job? Well, there would be a little symbol. So the same symbol you saw under my skills, the little yellow wine glass with a crack in it, would be right underneath the green arrow or next to it or what have you. And that would let you know that that is a job that has it. Unfortunately, there aren't any jobs currently that have it, so I don't get to show that to you right offhand, but there you go. So we did a few jobs of varying lengths, and hopefully I got to show you a lot of the mechanics of the game. There's a lot to this game, and there's a lot of things that we still have to discover, but my recommendation to you at this stage is just take your time, learn the processes of the game, try and focus each time on getting a little bit better on some of the aspects of the control of your truck and what have you. Try out the different trucks and go through them. And again, you get to see exactly what truck you're driving just by highlighting this. So this is a Renault truck, but this is a different Renault truck. So this is the Renault Magnum. This is the Renault T. So looking at those two, you get to see what engine it is. And sometimes the quick jobs can spoil you because oftentimes they'll come with things that are much better than what you would get at a low level of this truck. So this comes with a 480 horsepower engine. This one comes with a 520 horsepower engine. And if we were to look back with our vehicle browser and go to one of those trucks, so let's say the Magnum here, and then we go, oh, and you can get cool paint jobs and stuff. I didn't really show that to you. We'll take a look at that right now. But we go to engines. So 480, you don't get that until level 10. So the starting engine would be 440. So the Magnum here is also another truck you could get that has a good power engine, even at a lower level. But I will point out that this truck is one of the more expensive ones in the game, much more expensive than the Mercedes we looked at earlier. So price per value is probably not so good in the favor, but I really do like these Renault trucks. This is a good truck. So, you know, it's still good. But as far as the paint jobs go, you have your basic paint jobs we saw earlier. You can set up some custom templates, but you also have some cool designs. And you can change these as well. So let's say you don't like one of these colors. Just click on the color and change it to something else. Let's say we want red. And there you go. So you can change these colors. Some of them you can't. Like this one, you have to keep like this because it's the European Union setup. But a lot of them you can change the various colors that compose the different graphics. Some of them have more colors to manipulate than others. And so on. Some of these you may only get through DLC. I think this one is a DLC because it says Viva la France. And that is definitely a DLC. So, yeah. Some of them, not all of these will you get available, but it's these usually are very expensive though, so just keep that in mind. Do they have the Optimus Prime paint job? I forget what that one looks like to tell you if they do or not, but and then if you're ever curious like what the interior truck looks like, and also if you want to look around and just like what are the mirrors like, you know, and that kind of stuff, just left mouse button and drag around and you can kind of look around inside your cabin here and see what's all inside. But yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here. So I hope you guys very much have enjoyed